I had a client today message me struggling with trusting the process, right? That's the problem, trusting the process. You know, I don't like to do that. That hasn't worked for me. Some variation of I've been doing it this way, and I tell the people I work with, not to do that because of this and that and the other thing. And it's good insight. It's good that the key to good coaching, if you happen to be a coach yourself, is having a great open relationship between you and your client. So there's a lot of communication. So it's good that she communicated with me. But as I was listening to the message, it made me think of something that I literally heard this morning. In 1949, there was a forest fire in Montana, in Helena Park, where I'm going to mess the numbers up. I just heard the story, but I want to say 13 of 17 forest fire fighters died. And it was the fire of Mann Gulch. I'm sure you could look it up. And it was a particularly dangerous area where this fire was, but where they specifically were was extra dangerous because they were backed up to a wall with a 75% incline. So like virtually steep, like virtually straight up. And the wind shifted and the fire started bearing down on them, and they had to race to climb up that mountain or die. Only 3 people survived. 2 things happened that were fascinating. The one is the 3 people who survived dropped all their gear. Now, for many people in first responders, your gear represents your identity, and they had never been told to drop their gear before. So the 13, I believe it was 13 who died, they all died trying to climb the mountain with like 60, 70, 80 pounds of gear. Meanwhile, a fire is literally racing down on their back. The other 3 dropped all their gear. So the analogy to that is, what gear are you carrying that's totally and utterly irrelevant for your new mission, right? Like the mission that you're on. They were battling a forest fire. Wind shifted. Now they were trying to escape the fire from bearing down on them and killing them. But they were trying to escape with a different set of tools, right? Nobody had told them to drop their gear and climb up the mountain as fast as they could without their gear. It seems obvious to us sitting here, 75 years, 80 years later, but wasn't obvious to them. I mean, these poor men died. The second thing that's fascinating is one of the men who did die tried to get them to burn a fire circle, something that this guy had learned from Indians, Native Americans, Plains Indians or Native Americans. I'm sorry if I'm being politically incorrect. I don't know what the correct term is right now, but Native Americans on the plains. And when a fire comes bearing down on them, what they did was they burn a circle around them, and they take shelter in that circle, so that basically all of the grass and branches and stuff that would have been there to burn, it's not there. So the fire essentially jumps over them, and they survive in there, and they live. And when this guy tried to show them this method, like on the spot, like, oh my God, we're gonna die. Look, guys, I learned this from some Indians. Burn the ground around us and sit in the middle of this burnt out piece of grass and we'll be okay. Everybody else was like, you're crazy, you're nuts, we shouldn't do this. And they didn't. And 13 of them died. And so the first analogy is, you might be fighting one battle with the wrong gear and equipment. And the other analogy is, you might have some new training methods or techniques or materials or equipment or ideas presented to you that will solve a new problem. And in order to tackle that new problem, you might need new gear, training techniques, tips, tricks, and whatnot. Sometimes you've just got to let go of what you know, shed your old in order to embrace the new. What got you here won't get you necessarily there. So that's my message to all you guys today. If you're thinking, this won't work for me, or I don't understand why, or whatever, just remember that, like, if you came to us for coaching, it's probably because what you were doing wasn't working, and you first need to embrace the idea that maybe we need to try something else. Okay? Enjoy your afternoon. Get some good food in you. It's important. And don't forget to write it down. Put it in your stat sheet. All right. Love you all. Bye.